Hey, everybody, and welcome to the NintendoFuse podcast. This is episode 164, and this is our Game of the Year episode 2018. We're going to be celebrating all our favorite and maybe not so favorite games of the year this year. And again, I am not by myself. My name is Steve, but I am joined today again by Barry. Hey, Barry, how's it going?
Hey, Steve. Great to be here. Favorite time of year. Looking forward to it.
It's a good time, for sure, for sure. Greg, how's it going?
Everything's going good. It's the best podcast of the year, in my opinion. Lots of good games to discuss today.
Definitely lots to discuss. And we have an old friend back for the Game of the Year podcast. Hey, Hassan, how's it going?
Going great. I'm super excited. These are always so much fun.
For sure, for sure. But before we jump into everything else, we do want to, of course, welcome you here and remind you to subscribe. If you have not subscribed to the NintendoFuse podcast, make sure you do so. If you're watching live on YouTube or watching after the fact, subscribe to us on YouTube as well. And we'd love for you to hit that bell so you can be alerted by every new video that we post. And join us on social media, especially we have this Facebook group that we're trying to kind of grow that. It's fairly new, so make sure you check that out as well. And we do have a contest that ended tonight. And at the very end of tonight's podcast, we're going to announce the winner of that podcast. Barry, you want to take just a second to just tell everybody a little bit about what that contest was about?
Yeah, absolutely. We have partnered with the great people over at Video Games Monthly. We did this before, and it was a big hit, so we're doing it again for the holidays, where they are nice enough to give away a few retro video games for free to our listeners and to the people who will graciously go over and check them out. They offer a wonderful service where they give you video games every month, list of the games you have and the genres you like and the systems you own, and they will send you a random assortment that fits your criteria. So you don't get doubles, and you get games that you will enjoy and like to play. And it's a great surprise every single month. It's like Christmas every month. What am I going to get? A lot of times you get games you never even heard of. It's well worth it. The people behind it are very passionate. They're very, very, very sweet, and they're awesome. And they've been so generous to allow us to do this contest again. And we look forward to giving the winner an extra Christmas gift, courtesy, again, of Video Games Monthly. So please go check them out, videogamesmonthly.com. And if you do subscribe, please make sure to tell them that you found them through us. There's no extra perk or anything, but we just like to, reach out and let them know, like, hey, you know what? You're a NintendoFuse listener. Maybe they'll throw you a bone or two. Who knows? But yeah, just thank you again to Video Games Monthly, and good luck to all those that entered.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, big thanks to them and for making that happen. It's been awesome to give them away last time, and it's gonna be awesome to give another box away this time. So thanks again to Video Games Monthly. And yeah, we're gonna announce the winner of that at the very end of this podcast. So if you're listening or watching live, that'd be awesome. If after the fact, that's okay. But yeah, you do need to claim your prize by the end of this week if you did win. So make sure that you do let us know to claim that prize. But before we jump into any of the news discussion and jump into our Game of the Year, what have you guys been playing? What have you been writing? What's been going on in your life since the last time that we have talked to do this podcast? Let's go first to Greg. Greg, what's been occupying your time over the last couple of days?
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Let's take a poll. Actually, who has not been playing Super Smash Brothers Ultimate? No one. Okay, yeah, that's true. Okay, so
yeah,
tell us about your experience with Smash Brothers Ultimate.
I'm going through the adventure mode because that's been the most desired mode for me to go through first. I wanted to get all the fighters before I dive into online and have a chance to check out all the new fighters, especially like Ridley and Inklings and Captain K. Rool. So haven't quite got all of them unlocked yet. Yeah, I think I'm just about at the midpoint way through there. So anyone that's been as far as me kind of knows what I'm talking about. But so I won't spoil it for you guys if you guys haven't gotten it far yet.
Cool. Cool. Barry, what's been going on with your part of Smash Brothers Ultimate? Because I'm assuming that's probably what you've mostly been playing as well.
Yeah, I finished Ease and obviously Smash, and Dragolia's Lost. Still playing that, as well as Final Fantasy 14. All the Christmas events are happening, so it's a lot of business there. As for Smash, I have pretty much hunkered down and I've like plowed through the thing already. I've beaten everything in the story mode. I've gotten over 1,100 spirits thus far. Everything on the spirit board I've gotten, so now it's all like summoning spirits. All the characters unlocked. I'm halfway through going through classic mode. Over 100 challenges done. Like I'm just pouring time, and I'm taking breaks. But I took so much time, and I was like focused so much on it, especially with the spirit board, that my eyes actually like started hurting because I'm following that circle and some of those fast ones. Like I'm trying to slow it down, and I'm like, oh my god. Like I started getting headaches. So like I started just not caring and just shooting and firing and like whatever, like I'll get it around the second time. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. I'm loving this game.
Cool.
It just keeps you hypnotized, I guess, those little circles.
The slow circles are easy. It's the fast ones. Like when you get like the 4-star and it's like spinning like crazy, and you decide to be cheap. I'm Jewish, so cheap, and not use the items. And then afterwards, you find out there's a challenge for using the items, and it's like, oh man, all this time I could have 2 birds, 1 stone. Don't send PETA after me. But it was like, oh my god, so I had to go through and just catch any spirits and just use items just for that.
Nice. Hassan, what's been going on in your life in the video game world? I'm assuming Smash Brothers as well.
Yeah, that would be a correct assumption. Yeah, I've dabbled in the spirits mode, played a couple hours in it, and then just kind of going through and doing matches. I was trying to do a match in every stage, but that's also taking forever because there's so many stages. I still am not done doing a match in every stage, and just kind of just unlocking characters as I go. Had a graduation party yesterday, and so I had some family over, and we were able to do 8-player Smash for about 2 or 3 games, so not much, but man, it was total chaos. It would items off, and we still had no idea what was going on. It was insane, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much been occupying my gaming time lately.
Cool. Yeah, same here. Mostly been playing Smash Brothers. I've dabbled around with a couple other things to kind of round out a little bit of my my Game of the Year stuff. Later on, I need to get some hands-on from a couple of different things. But mostly, like 99% of my time has been in Smash for sure. I did unlock all of the characters. Kind of did the play game, turn off the game, and turn back on. Kind of just plowed through that, and because I knew I had people coming over that were going to be wanting all the players to unlock and everything. We did a gaming night not too long ago, and so I had to get them all unlocked and everything. But I'm still only about maybe 30% or something like that through World of Light so far, and I haven't even dabbled into the summoning stuff and shooting. We were talking about Barry. I haven't even tapped into that yet, so haven't even played through classic mode at all yet. So a lot of my time has been just unlocking the characters and then playing through all the stuff. So the rest of us are so far behind you, Barry. But
well, see, what I was doing was I was trying to unlock them all through spirit mode or through World of Light. And then a friend of mine told me and said, you know how it works, right? Every 10 minutes. I said, yeah, but I'm just focusing on World of Light. He was like, why don't you just play World of Light for 10 minutes and then back out? Because it saves you your progress right there. Back out, do a fighter, go back into World of Light. So I started doing that.
Yep.
And I unlocked everything really quickly that way. I didn't have to turn off or turn on or anything like that. And I was continuing with World of Light anyway. So I was focusing on the single player story while unlocking characters at the same time.
Cool. Yeah, that was my original intention, was actually to just unlock them all through World of Light. But then I had some people coming over. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to farm the rest of them. So we'll get them all done. But it's been a blast for sure. We'll definitely have a game chat on Smash Brothers Ultimate at some point in the near future, and be able to talk a little more in depth about our experience for sure. But enough with that. Let's move on to a few news stories before we jump into the Game of the Year awards this year. And most of our news this week comes from the Game Awards. Jeff Keighley's the Game Awards happened, was it just a couple weeks ago, like right after our last podcast, I believe. And we were talking about how there wasn't much Nintendo representation in the awards, the nominations itself. But then lo and behold, several big announcements came during the Game Awards as well. And let's just kind of chat about these real quick before we jump into the awards stuff for tonight. First of all, we found out that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 was announced to start with. It's called the Black Order, and it's coming exclusively to Switch in 2019. What do you guys think about this? Greg, are you excited that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is coming to exclusively to Switch?
Well, I never really played those games to begin with, so I mean, I'm more excited for all the fans of that kind of series just to see it, and it's always really good to see like more of like a third-party exclusive, especially to be on Switch as well. So it's definitely the best platform, obviously, for all of us. So yeah, definitely excited to see it come for those that are looking forward to it, but that's not really quite my game, so I probably won't be looking forward to it as much as everybody else.
Greg, it's definitely my game. I'm so excited for this. Hassan, are you with me on this? Is this exciting you?
I've never played any of the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games in particular, but I'm a big Marvel fan, and this looked really cool. I was kind of expecting, because there's a lot of rumors of there's a Square Enix Avengers game to show up. So at first when it started, I was like, is this that? And I was like, this doesn't seem like it. And then I saw exclusively on Switch, and I was like, what is this? What is interesting? Yeah. So I'm excited about this. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Cool. Barry, come on. Like, tell me you played Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, right?
I will be honest. I have Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, I think, on every system that they've been released for. And I have not played either.
Man.
But listen,
now
I have played
homework
X-Men
assignments.
Legends 1 and 2, which are the precursor to that.
Okay.
So I played them, and I liked them. And I just didn't play Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. But I am looking forward to this. When that trailer started, the first thought in my head was actually Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, are they bringing that over? Because it starts with Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm like, they brought other Telltale games over. I know they're, Telltale's, shutting down, but maybe this is some kind of deal. Nintendo said, we'll bring that over. And then when I started seeing other characters, I was like, huh? And I didn't even think about the Avengers game. I expected that to be shown off later in the show when the Russo brothers were there, or at least Avengers Endgame trailer or something. But once I saw the gameplay, immediately I said Ultimate Alliance 3. My wife looks at me and like, what? I'm like, it's Ultimate Alliance 3. And sure enough, it was. And I am super excited for this. I have it pre-ordered already, Steve. So I'm with you. Nice. I'm with you. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I played so much of the original 2. I had some friends that we played it on Wii, and it was so much fun to just go over, and we had late nights and just plowing through the game as much as we could, and several nights in a row, and it was so much fun. So now I'm like so far away from those people, and I'm excited to hear that they have online play. So now I could still have late nights playing with those same guys, even though we're in different states now. So it's gonna be great. So I hope it lives up to the hype in my mind, because I'm pretty excited about it. And shocked actually that it's a Switch exclusive. Like, that was like, we've talked about that several times. We're like, wow, okay, maybe Nintendo's ready at some point. Like, I don't know.
From what I understand, it was like, I guess they approached Nintendo, or they were looking for a game to be made, and Nintendo's like, all right, yeah, well, we can do something. And they went to Team Ninja, and Team Ninja said we wanted to do Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. So Marvel's like, okay, go ahead. And to me, the funniest thing about this whole thing is, honestly, it's the saddest thing too, is the fanboys. We're all Nintendo fans. but all of us minus Greg have games on other systems, and we have other systems. We play on other systems. But when Marvel Spider-Man came out, I've had arguments with Sony fanboys. They're like, oh, Spider-Man is only Sony and that's it, blah blah blah, and we've got the best exclusive. And I'm like, look, it's just a timed thing. And now Spider-Man's obviously in this, and they're crying foul, like, oh, well, it's okay for us to get Spider-Man, and no, this is terrible, like, boycott, this is horrible. And this is a Bayonetta 2 situation. If Nintendo didn't fund this wouldn't exist. And it's the people out there that would rather have a game not exist than exist in some format that bother me. Like, games should exist regardless of the system. Even if it's on my ideal system, I'd rather have it exist than not exist at all. So kudos to Nintendo. They need exclusives. They need more third-party support. And we'll see where it goes from here. But it's a step in the right direction for sure.
Definitely. And another step potentially in the right direction, we found out that Mortal Kombat 11 is not just a cross-platform for the normal systems that usually get Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat's coming back to Nintendo. Mortal Kombat 11 is going to be on Switch on April 23rd of next year. So just a few months from now, we're going to be playing an incredibly bloody, gruesome game of Mortal Kombat 11 on a Nintendo system. Hassan, what do you think of this?
I think that's pretty crazy. And it's interesting that I don't believe the trailer itself did it even say that? Or I think it was like in a press release later or something that we found out, or it might have just been a quick logo at the end, which... Yeah,
I think it was just a logo at the end. No one really talked about it, but then like Nintendo kind of beefed it up later and made sure that we knew about it. But it was just kind of it was just there.
Yeah, which, I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad, like in terms of, is it just, oh, it's Switch, as in like, hey, Switch is getting so much support, so what's the big deal, which is great. Or on the other hand, it's like, Switch, that's crazy, like promote it. So I don't know, it's kind of interesting.
Right. Barry, what do you think?
I honestly missed that logo when I saw the trailer. So immediately I thought, well, that's cool. PS4, Xbox One, I'll probably get it for PS4. And then I was reading a press release afterwards, and I was like, wait, Switch too? Like, I was taken aback. I was like, wow, like that's great. That's awesome. Now there's like conflicting things I've seen, though. There is some gray clouds. The official site now lists coming soon for Switch as opposed to the date for the other two. So there might not be day one. And then there's also like a deluxe version that contains like the season pass and everything that is not, there's no SKU for that for the Switch. As far as I'm aware, it's just a digital code, and that's the only real difference. But still, it's a little disheartening that Switch doesn't get that same treatment. But it's a step in the right direction. It very much reminds me of like when the GameCube or the Wii got a third-party game. It was like, oh yeah, it's also there. Another example was actually on the Wii U, which was Injustice, where same studio, Injustice went to the Wii U like all other platforms, and then they said, well, here's the Injustice Ultimate Edition with all the DLC, and the Wii U did not get that release. I mean, it's, again, the Wii U can play all the DLC characters, but the re-release did not hit the Wii U. So I guess we'll see. I'm a little skeptical that it comes out on launch day. I'm trying to be positive. I look forward to playing it. Again, I have it pre-ordered. I'm ready to play it on the Switch. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. April's still, 4 months away.
Right. Greg, you big Mortal Kombat fan?
Actually, I am. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing this. I don't think I've played it since the N64. There might have been like a game or two on like either GameCube or
Wii and GameCube had Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, maybe I was Wii that I had the last one, but it's certainly been a while. So my brother always definitely likes playing like the classic ones at the arcades like near our house. So definitely excited to try out the brand new one and Return with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, two of my favorites. So.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to see what this means. I think I mean the game coming to Switch is cool and everything, and I'm still on the fence if I'll get it or not. I enjoy those games. I'm more of a Street Fighter fan than I was ever a Mortal Kombat fan. I enjoyed it, but I enjoy more of Street Fighter. But it's just cool to see that happening, and I hope this is like you said, Barry, a steps in the right direction. I think for more and more of that kind of stuff to keep coming to Nintendo platforms.
And we definitely do need some more of these mature kind of centric titles too. So that's also a thing to see too.
Definitely. Not mature, but still cool for a lot of people. Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled is also was announced, also coming to Switch on June 21st of next year. Barry, you big Crash Team Racing fan? Is this exciting, or Mario Kart just does it for you?
Honestly, I didn't grow up with Crash. During that generation, I did have an N64, and I played just a little bit at friends' houses of the regular Crash games. Never played the racing. It wasn't until later that I got all the Crash games, but I never really sat down and played them until Insane Trilogy came out, and I was like, all right, now I'm gonna play it. And I hated it. I'll be honest. I honestly thought Crash was terrible. 1 and 2 were the 2 I played. I thought it was terrible in comparison to Nintendo's offerings. So I never actually did play the kart racing. Now, from what I understand, Crash Team Racing is very reminiscent of Diddy Kong Racing, which I did prefer over Mario Kart 64 100 to 1. So that has me excited. Since I didn't play the original CTR, even though I do have it, I look forward to playing this.
Cool. Greg, you feeling the same way, or are you just gonna pass on this one?
I'll probably likely pass on this one. As Barry was kind of talking with the Crash series, I got the Insane Trilogy. I wasn't like super impressed with the style of controls of it, and I was one that did prefer Mario Kart over Diddy Kong, so it doesn't really seem like it would be my cup of tea there.
Nice. Yeah, both are pretty solid games. Both are solid games.
Yeah.
If they just married the two together, it'd be the ideal kart racer for sure.
I'm not saying Diddy Kong's a bad game. It's just that I greatly enjoyed more of Mario Kart over that one. So
nice. Hassan, where do you fall on Mario Kart and Diddy Kong first, and then we can jump into Crash Team.
I guess don't hate me, but I never played Diddy Kong Racing.
Oh.
So I grew up on Mario Kart 64, and I have very fond memories of that game. And Mario Kart's one of my top favorite franchises. So I mean, I don't know.
Homework assignment is on while you're in the dungeon.
Yeah, I haven't played Diddy Kong Racing and never played Crash Team Racing. So really, Mario Kart's my only kart racer. So I'm looking forward to Crash just to like hear about it and see what people think, and then maybe I'll jump in to like scratch that kart racing itch for a little while, But I have no like preconceived notion either way, I guess.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I really enjoy Diddy Kong Racing, but yeah, now it's all Mario Kart, and so it's cool that it's coming, but that doesn't necessarily excite me. It more excites me, similar to Mortal Kombat and other things, just like cool that this stuff is coming to Switch. And I think that's some good signs of hopefully what is to come more down the road.
See, my problem with Mario Kart was it was just races. It was just, here's 4 races, go do it. Diddy Kong had an open world. It had, each level had coins. So you had to collect a certain amount of gold coins. You had to know where they were, and you had to also come in first, so it created an extra challenge. There was bosses. I love that thing so much. I beat it, and then I wound up doing it again. There was a mirror mode where that was silver coins. Not only did they reverse the tracks like Mario Kart, but they also put silver coins instead of gold, and they were in different positions than where the gold coins were. So it was almost like playing a brand new game. And I went through both versions and actually 100%ed it. Like, I love that game, and I would kill for a sequel.
It'd be make a lot of people excited if they originally eventually announced a sequel to Diddy Kong Racing for sure.
Did you play the one on DS though?
Yes, I played it, but I didn't fully beat it because it's virtually the same game, just minus the rare characters and put in Tiny Kong and I think Dixie Kong is in there, and it's nice. It's not as good as the N64 version, but if you have, that's the only version you can play that over not playing it at all. You really should go back and play it. Like, if you liked Mario Kart 64, you will love this.
Cool. Well, moving on to the final big announcement from the Game Awards is something that I think pretty much I'm going to go out on a limb and say no one saw coming, probably. And we kind of got this elaborate trailer, which was really cool. And we find out that Joker from Persona 5 is going to be the first DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate for the DLC packs that are coming out next year. Hassan, did this totally catch you off guard, and like, or were you knew it all the time? You totally predicted this, right?
If anybody says they predicted it, they're lying. Yeah, I mean, I was watching the Game Awards and like kind of live tweeting and kind of, so I was like glancing up and down at the TV screen. So I see this thing pop up, Nintendo Switch. I'm like, what is this? And I'm looking up and down, and I think I missed the part that had the Smash logo, but then I started seeing the silhouettes, and then they mentioned Smash Brothers, and then I started staring at the TV like, wait, what is this? And then it all clicked, and I was like, oh, this is very interesting. So don't know anything about the series, but the character itself, at least from that intro animation, looked really interesting, and I like interesting characters in Smash, so it's cool.
Yeah. Greg, you excited to play as Joker?
Yeah, I think it'd be an interesting addition. I mean, I've been kind of trying to get into the Persona series. I know they've had a few games on 3DS, but I still never pulled the trigger on it. But I would certainly be interested to try it out, and it might push me into pulling the trigger and going back and getting one of those 3DS games.
Cool. Barry, you're a pretty big Persona fan, aren't you?
I enjoy the Persona series. Yeah. The ones on the 3DS though, Persona Q, they are not typical Personas. They're more like dungeon crawlers, like Etrian Odyssey. So that's really not the best place to start with Persona. I did not see this coming. In fact, when I first saw the red logo and the Take Your Heart and all that, I was like, that's Persona 5, and the red was definitely like Switch's red. I'm like, they're bringing Persona 5 to Switch. That was my initial thought, like, oh, they're doing it. Like, that's awesome. And then when they revealed it, like the envelope in the reveal, and I was like, oh, okay, this totally didn't see this coming. But I was waiting, like, the first shoe dropped. I was waiting for the second one to say Persona 5 also coming to Switch. Like, this has got to follow. Like, come on. And it never did. And I'm still waiting for that other shoe to drop. like this is a no-brainer at this point. Like, Atlas has a great relationship with Nintendo. I don't know if Sony's paying them extra money at this point. I know the SMT main series is mainly on Nintendo. SMT 5 is coming, exclusively to the Switch. Why is Persona not following suit at this point? And there's no one can say, oh, the Switch can't handle it, because Persona 5 is actually a PS3 game, so it absolutely can handle it. And I don't know. I'm just waiting for some kind of other announcement. But when Reggie said, like, oh, this is the kind of caliber the other DLC characters are going to be, that pretty much threw everything, all expectations out the window, because Persona 5 isn't on Nintendo. So that means it does not have to be a Nintendo character at all in any regard. And it probably means the other 4 are third-party characters, which makes me believe that there will be Echo fighters and other characters like Piranha Plant thrown in for free throughout the year that are more Nintendo characters, or at least easier to create characters. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm always excited for new characters and different characters. I'm excited for Echoes too, but I expect more when it's just like, well, one Echo, yay, like no big deal. But like 3 Echoes and a new fighter, like, okay, you got me. But a new fighter, I'm interested to see how this plays. And I hope it's more than just that character with the stage and a selection of music. I hope they go like, oh, here's an assist trophy too, like, and here's some spirits as well. Like, they really bring it in.
Yeah. I have not played a Persona game at all, and so I'm incredibly unfamiliar with the series, the character as well. But like you said, Hassan, I'm just excited to have another character, and from what I can tell, a different type of character as well. For you guys that know Joker and everything, what are you expecting to see from his kind of gameplay?
I don't really know too much about him, so I was waiting for Barry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. I expect kind of like, this is just, obviously this may not be real, but like kind of like Bayonetta, when Bayonetta does her smash attacks, the Wicked Weave fist comes out. I kind of expect something like that, where doing like smash attacks, Joker's persona will add into the attack. The smash attack, or the smash ball, has to be something with the persona. Other than that, I expect quick moving, because Joker is a thief. So definitely a fast moving character, maybe like Sheik. Thinking like Sheik with Bayonetta type smash attacks. That's my guess. I could be 100% wrong.
Right. Cool. That sounds exciting though, for sure. Yeah, and I'm excited to see, like what you said, Barry, about like what kind of characters they're going to now pull out for their other 4, because like this just opened the door to a bunch of stuff potentially that we had never really perceived would ever happen. So now we're not thinking of, you know, just Nintendo characters and you know, other second party characters and stuff. Now is this potentially open to anyone? We're gonna see Master Chief. We're gonna see like all these other characters that we've been talking about. That like that's never gonna happen. Maybe now it could. I don't know. We'll see. But let's wrap up with a couple quick news stories. New NES online games, Wario Woods, Ninja Gaiden, and Adventures of Lolo. There's also a couple others of special editions to the games that are already on there. Greg, which any of those excite you about the new NES online games at all?
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't really say excite, but I mean, some ones that I'm definitely happy to see is definitely Ninja Gaiden and Adventures of Lolo. Those are two of my favorites from the NES like days. So definitely happy to see those on board, and hopefully their sequels will be not too far behind them.
Cool. Hassan, any of those exciting you?
I don't think I've actually played them, to be honest. So I'm excited because now that this arrived today, the NES Online controllers, I'm going to go and play more of those NES Online games. So we'll check them out.
Nice, nice. I know Greg's got some controllers on the way as well. Barry, did you order them?
Yep, my controllers came today, and I also ordered the Famicom ones, which will be here soon.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm excited for Ninja Gaiden mainly. I love that series, and I look forward to playing it again, especially with those controllers for the real nostalgia feeling.
Yeah, I'm just glad to have save states and everything, so maybe I might eventually beat Ninja Gaiden this way. It's a ridiculously hard game. And just kind of rounding out the news, Toe Jam and Earl Back in the Groove is coming to Switch on March 1st of next year. Hassan, you a big Toe Jam and Earl fan at all? Is this interesting?
I had actually played Toe Jam and Earl, I think on the Wii Virtual Console. I think I don't know what brought me to that game, but I ended up purchasing it and playing some of it, and it was kind of interesting. So I might have to check this out. Yeah.
Cool. Barry, big Toe Jam and Earl fan?
I'm not a big one. I played the original on the Genesis back in the day, and I never played Panic of Funkatron and all that. I have it. I remember when 3 came out, I was excited. I was like, oh, cool, you know? And then it was like Xbox exclusive, and I was like, oh, no GameCube? And then it didn't get the best reviews, and I was shocked to see it come back. I mean, I'm happy to see it come back, and I do plan on giving this one a try. I like to see old IP get a new life, with the exception of Bubsy, but that just doesn't seem to want to die, it seems.
Greg, you ever play Toe Jam and Earl?
No, I have not. So any new games are always welcome, in my opinion.
Cool. Yeah, I'm like you, Barry. I think I only played it on the original Genesis versions. I never touched any of the sequels or anything like that. But it's cool, yeah, to see old IP and stuff that I'd forgotten about Toe Jam and Earl. Like it'd been around, you know, what hadn't fully died, but I kind of forgotten about it. And then all of a sudden I saw this come up. I'm like, oh. Wow. Oh yeah, I remember that game. I forgot about those guys. So it's quirky, it's fun, and yeah, it'd be interesting to see, and it's cool that it's coming to Switch. All right, all the news is out of the way. All the news, at least, we're going to talk about. Now on to the main event. The main event of episode 164, the Game of the Year Awards, and it would not make sense for us to have Hassan on the show and not let him host this portion of the episode. So with that all being said, I'm going to toss it over to Hassan and let him host the 2018 NintendoFuse Game of the Year Awards.
All right. Thanks, Steve. I'm very excited. These are always very, very fun to do. So this year we have a couple different categories because, of course, with new systems, different things, we always have to kind of change it up a little bit. So the first category is going to be 3DS and mobile games. There weren't really enough 3DS games. I think, Steve, you were saying there were like 50-something 3DS games that released this year?
Yeah, I think like 59, I believe, 3DS games. That doesn't count like the apps and stuff like that, but I think there was 59 on the list that I saw.
Yeah, which is actually more than I thought there were this year. But But so we decided to combine 3DS and mobile games into one category. Then we have another category that we're kind of calling Nintendo Switch Indie/eShop, which is sort of meant to be like your indie titles, your eShop only titles, maybe cheaper, lower budget games. It's hard to kind of quantify a title for that category, but Indie/eShop-ish, that sort of category. Then we have a category for Nintendo Switch AAA titles, so your bigger budget, full price or close to full price games, what you would really think of when you hear AAA titles. We decided to throw in a worst games of the year category as well, to make it interesting. And then, of course, our game of the year, and then we'll tally up all the votes and announce our overall NintendoFuse game of the year. So we are going to go we'll go through each of us and give our third place for each category. And then for the same category, we'll do second place. And then we'll do first place along with honorable mentions. Because if you I guess you can kind of say those together. Because if you say your honorable mentions, you're going to end up giving away all the other games and then your first. So you can maybe say your first place title and then the other games that you wanted to pick that didn't quite make it. So we're going to start off with 3DS mobile. And I'm going to go first and just say that I have nothing in this category because I didn't play any 3DS or mobile games that came out this year. So I guess that was easy for me. I have nothing in this category. I played Pokemon Go, but that's already been out. And I downloaded Dragalia Lost and then deleted it, and I just never played it. So there you go. That's my contribution to that category.
But we weren't counting like major updates to existing mobile games, so that's like at least a segment that you could, a popular opinion you might see from me and Barry, perhaps. But
True. So we'll see what else comes up. But I just didn't think there was enough new content per se in any of the things that I played. But we're gonna start with Greg on this one. So Greg, what is your third place pick?
My third place pick is a game that I just started playing the last week or so, and that's actually Dragalia Lost. So I'm up through chapter 2. It's been a pretty fun adventure so far, and looking forward to seeing more as the story unfolds. So I didn't quite get a ton of playtime with it, but definitely that's going to be increasing as the time goes on. So
I'm so happy to hear you say that.
I took my homework assignment seriously.
I'm so proud.
All right. Well, let's see. Barry, what is your third place pick?
For mine, actually, was one that came out back in January, or right at the beginning of the year, and that is Kirby Battle Royale. I'm a big Kirby fan, and while Battle Royale is definitely different, it's kind of more like Mario Party style without the board Kirby game. It was just fun. It was just fun little mini games, and it's great for portable play. And I had more fun with it than I thought I would. So yeah, I do recommend it.
Cool. All right, Steve, what is your third place pick?
All right, my third place pick. You're gonna see I'll just spoiler alert. You're gonna see a common thread through my my 3DS and mobile games. For third place, I picked Luigi's Mansion, a fantastic game on the GameCube, and seeing it back again is really cool to have it back again. I think the sequel is actually better, but it's been cool to see the original back on 3DS, and yeah, that's number 3. So if you haven't played Luigi Mansion, it's a perfect opportunity to pick it up on the 3DS and take it on the go.
All right. So since I don't have any picks, we're gonna go back up to Greg for your second place pick.
So here I'm putting in Fire Emblem Heroes because this year they introduced a brand new game mode for Aether Raids, and this allows you to completely design your own map for other people around the world to challenge your map and your team comp, and you can place all sorts of buildings and traps and stuff like that, and there's a huge competitive element to it. So having a huge new game mode that's only been live for like the last 2 months or so, I thought that warranted a radical change in the way that the game has been headed through its 2 years that it's been out. So that's my number 2.
Okay. What about you, Barry? What is your second place pick?
My number 1 and 2 swapped several times when going through this, and I finally settled on number 2 being Dragalia Lost. I absolutely adore this game. There's a ton of great content here. You know, they just actually this morning put out the new Christmas event, new high-level raid, new summons. It's just they're constantly adding to this game. That being said, it's not perfect, and there are a few reasons why it didn't hit number 1, such as there really should be some more user-friendly things, like there's a daily summon, but it actually costs money. It should be free, just to keep people playing. The chat options are these little like messages you can say, and the problem is there's no way to really convey. So if you have a run and you're going through like a fire dungeon, you do not want to bring, you know, wind elemental people because they will get slaughtered, and someone joins with wind and they select they're ready to go. All you could do is spam nope, and you hope that the other people that are there that are all you can water with you ready to go don't get bored and leave. You can't say switch to water, you're gonna die, you know, boat anchor, anything like that, get out of my room. You can't do anything. So it does create some frustration. A little bit more, you know, communication or communication tools would help elevate it. That being said, it is a phenomenal mobile game, and I'm not a mobile player, and it's free. And it's one of those very rare free games that I have actually spent money on because I am enjoying it. But it didn't, because of those things, it did not hit number 1 for me.
Gotcha. All right, we'll head to Steve for your second place pick.
All right. Well, I think Barry already picked up on my theme. So we're just going to jump into number 2 being SteamWorld Dig 2. SteamWorld Dig was a fantastic game, and the follow-up was just, I think it took it even further. I don't know if it really, I don't think it got a lot of critical acclaim as much as the first one did, but I really enjoyed the second one, and bringing it over to the 3DS has been a great thing. So again, like Luigi mentioned, if you didn't get a chance to play it on the original system, check it out on 3DS. Just like SteamWorld Dig 2, if you didn't get a chance to play it on the original systems, having it on 3DS this year was great, and it's a good challenge, and highly recommend it.
It's also on Switch. I'd recommend that too.
There we go. All right, so that brings us to our top 3DS and mobile game. What is it for you, Greg?
So I think, pretty sure me and Barry will probably be sharing grounds on this one. It's pretty hard not to. This was the only game that I played on 3DS the entire year, but it's by far a very awesome classic that they brought back from the DS, and that's Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. So this is a very awesome RPG game. If you haven't experienced, I don't know why you're not starting to purchase this right now and play it, but it's so fantastic. It's excellent story, and you'll be switching between some different timelines, unlocking all the events, learning everything you can about this town and its history. It's so great. Can't speak enough of it. So definitely number 1.
Nice. All right, Barry, do you agree?
Actually, I picked Detective Pikachu. No, I'm just kidding. That was actually one of my honorable mentions, Detective Pikachu. But yeah, Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology was the one game that beat Dragalia Lost, and that's simply because it is a timeless game. Like, it is so good. If you like old school SNES RPGs, especially like Chrono Trigger, and that's what I've heard like throughout the DS life. Like, oh, you gotta play Radiant Historia, and I never did. I had a friend actually go out and find me a copy. I guess that's the very copy I own, and I never popped it in. So when this came out, I'm like, yep, I'm going to be playing this, and I do not regret it. It is so good. This had me hooked on the 3DS for a long time. So absolutely play this game, like Greg said. It's awesome.
Gotcha. Steve, do you have the same pick for number 1?
You know what? I don't, because I've never played that game. And as many listeners of the podcast know, I don't have the time to dive into deep RPGs anymore. But it sounds like a wonderful game, though, and I'm glad that you guys enjoy that. But mine is completely opposite. Something that you can play very quickly, and yet again, it is a port from an older system. But my top 3DS game this year was Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I really enjoy Captain Toad. I enjoyed it on the Wii U. I would love to have it on the 3DS and the Switch. I love that it came back again. Normally, I don't try to double dip in games, but this one's I was, because I love being able to, especially take it on the go. I think that's the cool the aspect of Captain Toad is it's good in little bits here and there. You can definitely sit down and grind through several different puzzles and levels and stuff, but it's cool to take it on the go and play it here and there and play just a level when you can, and that's great that you can do that now on 3DS. So Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. I did have Detective Pikachu and Dragalia Lost on my honorable mentions. I spent all of like 5 minutes with Dragalia Lost this week, but I downloaded it. It's on my phone now. I've started it, but just really didn't spend enough time. And I think that's really the big thing why it didn't make it on the list or anything, is because it never was enough for me to really desire to play it. And I think that plays into my enjoyment of games as well, is if I actually like have that desire enough to like put it on my device and want to play it. And that's just never really been there for that game, even though it looks fantastic and clearly other people enjoy it. But Captain Toad takes top pick for me this year.
I have to interject for a second. You know why I figured you out beforehand, Steve? Because this morning, to prep myself for this, I actually went back and listened to my favorite game of the year that we did, which was 2016. And I re-listened to that whole thing. And you pulled a Hassan. This entire year, you pulled a Hassan. Now, to understand that, you should go back and rewatch that. That episode is awesome. But if you do remember, you know exactly what I'm talking about, Steve. You pulled a Hassan.
Hey, it works.
Now I'm trying to even remember what happened in 2016.
All I'll say for you, Hassan, is Twilight Princess.
Okay, gotcha.
You remember now?
I think I remember now. Yeah, so those are our 3DS and mobile picks for 2018. I do want to mention I did actually buy Detective Pikachu, but then my wife played it and beat it, so I technically didn't, so I couldn't put that on my list. But it looked fun from what she played. But so there is that. So we're going to move on to the next category, which is Nintendo Switch Indie/eShop titles. And so we are going to change it up and start with Barry this time. So Barry, What is your third place pick? We're going to change it up each time and keep it fresh.
We're going to switch it up now.
There you
go. So for my third place, I picked Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. Bloodstained is a spiritual successor to Castlevania series that I absolutely love, and I'm a Kickstarter backer for Bloodstained. And this was a free bonus game. They're like, hey, here it is. Download it. I was like, okay, I'll download it. And if you like original NES-style Castlevania, think more Castlevania 3 with different characters you could switch between. This is awesome. It's a really great game, and I hear it's actually getting a physical now, which has me super excited. And I will be purchasing the physical for that. But yeah, this is awesome. It's not expensive at all on the Switch, and if you have that itch, you like that old school Castlevania. I'm not talking Metroidvania. I'm talking more old school Castlevania. Definitely give it a shot.
All right. So let's go to Greg next for your third place pick.
So from listening to previous episodes, everyone knows that I was a huge fan of the NES catalog that was announced with the online service. So that's actually my third place pick, is the NES Entertainment Online, because I absolutely love the NES games. I love having a way to play them all on the go within a week's time, obviously, if I don't check in. So obviously it's really great to be able to play Mario 3, Mario 1, The Legend of Zelda, and they just continue to add them, as we've already discussed earlier today. So I definitely really enjoy the app and love the classic games, or a number of the classic games that are already available. So
Why do I feel this is going to be this year's Mario and Friends Amiibo challenge?
Not for me. Not for me.
All right,
I'm just
Steve.
kidding. Not happening this year for me. No, there's some actually good quality games here this year.
No, I had the hardest time just having a number 3, so I needed a filler that I actually enjoyed. So
Gotcha. Well, Steve, what is your number 3 pick?
Greg, let me tell you what you can go play. You can go play Lightfall. Lightfall is a great game. If you enjoy platformers like I do, I was very surprised by Lightfall. I didn't realize I was going to enjoy it this much. And not only it's a quick moving one, but all of a sudden, like, you get to some levels and it slows you down. And in the beginning, I think even on our game chat, I was shocked by that, and it kind of messed me up. And I wasn't sure if I liked it or not. But now, like, looking back, I really do enjoy that, because it's not just your traditional platformer. You can create platforms along the way, and I love the colors, the shadows sort of thing that they're going for. It's a fantastic game. If you love platformers, Lightfall is great, and it's my number 3.
All right. So that brings me to my number 3 pick, which I actually do have picks this time. This was actually a bit of a struggle too, because I didn't have many choices for what I played, but my 3rd place pick, actually, I'm going to go with what Greg chose as well, and pick the NES Online app.
See, Steve? Told you.
Lightfall just fell behind.
A variety of games, so you got a couple choices of, you take your pick for your style of games that you enjoy, and now with the new NES Online controllers, it'll make it even more fun. So I'm looking forward to actually diving further in depth with these titles.
Jigster Mini Mario and Friends. That's great.
I do have Lightfall, but it was too fast paced for me, so that's why I didn't like it as much as to pull it into a number 3 spot. Just wanted to further clarify that.
Okay. I got 2 other picks. You might pick one of them, but maybe not the other one. So
I'm pretty certain that both my other 2 picks will probably be at least in one of your guys' lists.
I don't know, maybe. Or maybe not.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty but I don't know.
So let's see. Let's see if we got any other commonalities amongst these lists. So we're going back around. Barry, what's your number 2 pick?
Getting up here was a little bit tougher, but I had to go with West of Loathing for my number 2. Just a phenomenal RPG from some phenomenal guys. It's very crude in terms of graphics, because it's all stick figures, but it's also crude in terms of humor, and I love that. It doesn't pull punches, and it lets you do a lot of crazy things, and I love RPGs. This is a very fast-paced RPG in the sense, like, it's over quickly, but it doesn't overstay its welcome, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Like, if you like the West, if you like, simple but very funny, like old school point and click, like think Maniac Mansion style humor in your RPG, then you need to play West of Loathing. It is absolutely worth your time.
All right, Greg, what about you?
So this is where I made my initial comment, because my 2nd pick is also West of Loathing. I greatly enjoyed that game as much as for pretty much echo and regurgitate everything that Barry just said. It's very crude, very fun, very simple. It's everything that's really makes a really fun game. So definitely recommend it. There is a physical copy, I believe, if you guys go through the company. So if you're scared of the digital games, digital only games.
Yeah, Limited Run put out the physical, which I also ordered to support them, because this game was worth your money.
Nice. So we got 2 in a row for West of Loathing. Steve, are you going to make it 3?
It's not West of Loathing. I haven't played it yet. I've heard all these guys talk about it and stuff, but I haven't actually played it yet. This game for my number 2 is somewhat, it's very similar to my 3DS indie thing. It's a port of an older game, but it's a great game, and I did not play it originally. This is one that I started playing when it came to Switch earlier this year, and that's Earthlock. I was very surprised by this game. I never saw it before. I didn't really know that much about it, and I ended up getting a review copy of it, and I've fallen in love with this game. It's enough of an RPG that it doesn't like require a ton of my time, which we know, like, from earlier podcasts and even earlier in this one, I don't have a ton of time to give to it. But it's traditional, but it's new. The colors and the art style is really cool, and it's totally drawn me in. And in the very beginning, you're kind of confused about like what's going on, and then all of a sudden, like in my confusion, I was sucked into the story and what was going on. And I love the way that it's a challenging game as well. That it's not a walk in the park at all, and that's really cool in this day and age of video games where a lot of games are too easy. Earthlock is not one of those. So Earthlock Festival of Magic for my number 2.
Nice. My second place pick is actually Pokemon Quest. I know it also released on mobile, but I didn't play it on mobile. I played it on Switch. It's interesting. It very much feels like a mobile game, because it is kind of also. But I do like the art style. I think it's very unique, and it was fun kind of seeing the original Pokemon in that art style. I know that they even released like little plushes for some of those characters. I thought that was just kind of cool. So it's a fun little unique art style. If you're into Pokemon and you want to check something out, it's free to download and start. So worth at least trying out for sure. So that was my second place pick. All right. So Barry, what is your top Nintendo Switch indie/eShop title?
First, I need to preface this with the fact that these lists, are our own personal list, and I know there might be some people throwing things like and I'm just going to get it out right here. I'm just going to put a quick honorable mention for 2 games I did not play. They are not physical yet, and I did not play them, and that is Hollow Knight and Celeste. I know those 2 games have critical acclaim, and I know some people will be like, how could you not pick those 2? I did not play them, and therefore I cannot put them on my list. Personally, I've heard nothing but great things, so they are put in honorable mention because of that. A few other quick honorable mentions: Lightfall, Victor Vran, and Dead Cells are all great games. Those ones I did play, but my number 1, I had to give it to Arena of Valor. This was a free-to-play game on the Switch, a game I did not expect to fall in love with. I was like, whatever, I'm just going to play this, in between. And I wound up getting hooked. Like, it's an arena-style game where you're on a team with 3 other people, and you have to capture the flag kind of deal. You have to destroy the other people's bases. And as the match goes on, you get more powerful, as do your opponents. And it's just hectic and crazy and a lot of fun. And the characters are cool, and the mythology is cool. And it's just a free-to-play, fun, game. I can't recommend it enough. It took me completely by surprise, and I think that's why it one-upped West of Loathing. Like, I went into West of Loathing like, I'm going to love this game. I went into this like, this is going to be 10-15 minute time filler before I go back to the Switch home screen and try something else, and that did not happen.
Nice. Very cool. Greg, what about you? What is your top pick?
Well, I did have an honorable mention for Moonlighter. That's a game that I was reviewing and kind of been looking at, and it's a ton of fun, but I still need to put a little bit more time into it to really call it a really great game. But my number 1 was actually in Barry's honorable mention because he failed to pick up my recommendation that I've talked about in our channels. That's Hollow Knight. It's kind of hard not to. I spent over 70 hours into the game. I essentially 100% of the game except for like one boss that was just way too difficult for me. So I didn't do all the true and alternate endings. I just stuck with the first original ending, but I did beat all of the content and all of like the DLC content with it. It's such a fantastic game. I love those Metrovania games, and that's very easy to get hooked and stick right through it. So number 1.
All right, so then on to Steve. What's your number 1 pick?
Well, I will say a couple honorable mentions real quick. Shu is it's a pretty decent game as well. An honorable mention, and Shantae Half Genie Hero, again a port, but great game on Switch as well. So if you missed out on that one, but my number 1 is one of those critically acclaimed games. That's Celeste. As I've said before, I am a huge platformer fan, and this is awesome. It's such a great game because it incorporates this great story with great platforming and amazing music, and just It's a great game. So if you haven't played it, Barry, you got to get it as soon as it comes out. You
Been
get the
announced
chance.
for physical. I think this Friday it goes up for pre-order. I'm ready for it.
You got it. Okay, good. Because I just making sure. Because if not, if you missed out on it was like a limited run thing, and like you missed out on it, I might have to actually buy it for you because this is that great.
Wow, there you go.
Homework assignments pre-purchase. Look at that. Courtesy of Steve.
So. Yeah,
so that means
Celeste.
you're gonna go to limited run on this Friday for me, and you're gonna purchase Celeste for me, right?
No, you already got it, right?
No, it comes out this Friday. I haven't got it yet.
Yeah, if I only say if you missed out on it, like if it already ran out or something like that, like I might be tempted to buy it for you, but I wasn't definitely going to.
So Barry, let me know when it runs out, and then Steve can buy it.
Yeah, it runs out in 2 weeks.
I'm just gonna throw you like the $20 just to download it.
I might need to get in on this train too. You know?
No, seriously, just download it now. Just set it to download right now.
I do love. See, this is why I love doing the podcast and stuff too, because we had Barry mention that his 2 honorable mentions he wasn't able to pick up were Hollow Knight and Celeste, and I'm looking at the list and I immediately knew Greg was next with Hollow Knight and then Steve with Celeste. I was like, hey, it's perfect. You know, we all just kind of balance it out.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Sequenced perfectly.
What's even better is those 2 games are not on the document that I sent you, Hassan.
Right.
So you had no idea.
So
that
as soon
I was
as you
gonna say
mentioned
those.
it, I was like, perfect. It was great. It was great. Also, I'm sorry if you hear random little snoring on the side. I have this Anki Vector thing, which I just put on my desk, but I forgot that it randomly turns on in the middle of stuff. So like, he's just like sitting here and all of a sudden just started snoring. I'm like, just stop. I'm trying to do a podcast. Like, hey Vector, go to sleep. Go to sleep. Stop bugging me. I'm trying to podcast. Sorry.
He wants to say it's Game of the Year nominations.
So let's see, Vector. What is the? Oh no, I didn't mean to actually turn it on. I was gonna go to sleep. Hey Vector, go to sleep.
Stupid AI.
Computers will one day rule the world.
We're just gonna run with it. We're just gonna run with it because my top pick is actually Runner 3. So there you go. I love rhythm games, and to be honest, I didn't get as far in this one as I would have wanted because it got really difficult really fast. But since then, they have updated the game to, I think, add in more checkpoints and kind of help out with certain things. So I haven't gotten a chance to play it since then, but I was reading through their changelog of updates that they've added, and it's like all the stuff that is what I would want in this game to be able to enjoy it even more. So I'm definitely excited to play more of it. But the Runner games are always great with their soundtracks, and it's great to have it on the go with the Switch as well. So certainly a lot of fun.
I find that game really hard to play on the go because I want more screen to see it. But how long did it take you to finally get through the second level?
A while.
The second one, it's like you're like, boom, there's the challenge. Second level.
Yeah. It hits
stairs.
really hard. Exactly, the stairs. You can't get the timing. It's a nightmare. But yeah.
Keep in mind, second level nightmare Game of the Year from Hassan, #1 right there.
So this is where I'm telling you, I didn't play much in this category, so I kind of had to pick, and I was like, Pokemon Quest was like, I mean, I don't know, it's something. And NES Online, like, I felt like they're old games, so like I couldn't make that my top pick. I had to mention it though. So yeah, I was very loaded in one specific category with this Game of the Year for myself, which is the next category coming up, which is our Nintendo Switch AAA titles.
Wait, which is the worst games of the year? That's what I'm really loaded up on this year.
So let's see. This will be interesting to discuss. Let's start with Steve for this one. What is your third place pick?
All right. So third place is going to give very mixed feelings right off the bat, but Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna expansion did make it to third place. It's not quite first or second, but it's a fantastic game. As Barry will no doubt tell you at some point in this podcast how great of a game it is, because I'm almost certain that it's on his list at some point, maybe #1. But it's a great game. It's not as much as my thing as my number 1 and 2. Honestly, like my 1 and 2 are like my jam in terms of games, other than platformers. But like Xenoblade's a great game.
You didn't get far enough in it, damn it.
And I haven't gotten like. I haven't finished the whole thing. I'm still only a few hours in, but it's a fantastic game, and I think one of the cool things that I'll point out is that I was not sure how much I would enjoy the art style, because I knew they changed it a little bit from original ones and stuff. But as I got into it, I really enjoyed the art style that they chose, and it's really cool. It's a piece of art to behold, not only just a great game to play as well. So. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna.
All right. Kicking it off big with Xenoblade. So, Barry, what is your third place pick?
Third place was pretty tough. Actually, that was the only tough one there. But at the end of the day, technically this game did come out last year, but for the Switch, it came out this year. So in terms of Switch, it gets my number 3 slot, and that's Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana. This is a long-time series. If you've never played an Ys game, they are action RPG. Think Legend of Zelda with little more RPG elements, and this is a truly awesome game. Just the scope. Like, unlike a traditional RPG where you're going from town to town, you're marooned on an island and you need to find other, survivors of a shipwreck, and you need a certain amount of people found and saved to be able to clear obstacles to explore more of this island that you wound up, coming across. And there's a big mystery in the island. There's a lot of things that don't seem right. And it does something that I didn't expect it to do. I expected to be pretty safe. Oh, I've got this person, I'm doing this and this, my village is fine. And then literally shit hits the fan. Like, you can lose villagers can die, and they are permanently gone, and your base can get attacked and you have to defend it, or you lose morale. And it added all these extra levels, but it was never timed. It's not like Majora's Mask where it's like, oh, I have to do certain things by certain hours. You are free to do as you please. You're like, oh, a raid is coming, and that's what you have to do to move on. But that doesn't mean you can't keep exploring the island. And the island is huge. I probably put 60, 70 hours into this, and I do not regret it. It is an awesome game, and if you haven't played it and you like Zelda-style games, especially after Breath of the Wild, I definitely recommend Ys 8 very, very much so.
That's cool. That's one of those games that I've heard a lot about, or I've heard it, but I didn't know much about the game. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, nice. Before we go on, I just want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's popped in the chat throughout this episode. Jakester, the Knight of Darkness, Javery Jefferson, Only Three Penguins, Jared Krinsky. I think that's everyone that popped in there. So shout out to all of you. And if anybody throughout this, wants to post your picks for each of these categories as well, go for it. We'll read them on the podcast. So let's go over to Greg for your third place pick.
My third place pick is a game that I was really eager to see come out this year, and that is Mega Man 11. As soon as they announced it, I knew I was definitely a day one purchase. The saddest part is I haven't had the time that I've wanted to actually play that. I've gotten tons of review games this last quarter of the year, so I've only spent a fraction of the amount of time that I would have wanted to spend a lot more into this game. So it easily could have been bumped up higher in this list had I had more time to play it. But the time that I have played has been phenomenal, and I really am going to be jumping back into it probably very soon, as soon as I wrap up World of Light, I bet.
Very cool. So then for myself, my third place pick is Pokemon Let's Go. I got the Eevee version in particular, but essentially a really cool game because it takes some of the things, I'm as many of you that have listened to the podcast know, I'm not a big fan of RPGs personally, but Pokemon is one of those exceptions. But there's certain things about Pokemon, the typical RPG things, like having to grind and all that kind of stuff, kind of have stopped me from finishing the games in recent years. And Pokemon Let's Go so far, I've got about halfway through it. I've really been enjoying it, and I think the new changes to it have really helped a lot. The fact that you can swap your Pokemon out at any time without having to go back to a Pokemon Center and go to your box. You have it with you all the time. Seeing the wild Pokemon out roaming around is fantastic. And I think the variety in catching Pokemon with the Pokemon Go mechanics and then trainer battles with the usual battle mechanics kind of changes things up. And I've been having a lot of fun playing through it. So I'd say that's my third place pick. So let's head back around to Steve for your second place pick.
All right. So for second place, this is a game that I was not particularly excited about until, I mean, I was somewhat excited about it, but then they made a particular announcement that just totally set me over. Because this game became the game that I thought another game should have been, and that is Starlink Battle for Atlas. Like I said, I was decently interested. Flying game, cool, toys to life, whatever. But then when they announced Star Fox, I was like totally sold. I was like, I have to have my own R-Wing, like to be able to put on my shelf. It was like, if nothing else, I'm buying this game just to have my own R-Wing. And that is pretty awesome. But as we have said, I think on previous podcasts and stuff, as we've talked about this game, it is what Star Fox should have been. Like Star Fox Zero, like it's so much better, and just in every way. There's a cool story. It's cool how they integrated Star Fox into the story there, and it's a great game. It's fun. It's so much fun. There's a lot of action. Controls are great. There's very few things that I don't like about this game, and like I said before, flying games are one of my big things that I really enjoy, especially with the adventure and everything. So yeah, if you have not picked up Starlink Battle for Atlas, it's been on like a bunch of sales recently, which is sad because something tells me that it's not selling like it should. But people need to get this game and need to invest in it because it's pretty great, and it's the next Star Fox game, pretty much. So get it on Switch.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the sales. I mean, if you haven't gotten it yet, it's the perfect time because there are some fantastic deals for it. So definitely check it out. Yeah. Barry, what is your second place pick?
Just to put out there, Steve, I actually, due to the sales, I actually bought it a second time on PS4 to get all the ships, but to also give them more support.
Nice.
My number two actually has some strategy to it. As close as to get to number one as possible without being number one. But there was another strategy because unlike the rest of you guys, I get to talk about it first, and that's Smash Brothers Ultimate. That is my number two.
Oh, I wonder what your number one is.
Smash Ultimate came so close to being number one, and the reason it didn't is because there were a few choices made that, and they're nitpicks. These are all nitpicks that just held it back. One of the things, and for me, I think the most major thing is I love the trophies. And I'm not saying the trophies should come back, but the reason I love the trophies is because there was always a blurb about each character, little callbacks. Here's what games they were from. And the spirits, they're great. I love collecting the spirits. But there are some characters I have no idea who they are. And I'd love some information without having to go to Google. Who is this character that I just collected? Not only would that allow people to understand the battles, because the battles for the spirits are so thought out, and what they were able to do was so creative. But if you don't know who that character is, then it means nothing to you. So I'd really love if they added those blurbs. I know there's almost 1,300 spirits. I know that's a lot of blurbs, but they don't have to be full dictionaries. They could just be, a few sentences each. That's one of the biggest things. Online still wasn't perfect. I did have some lag with online, and I know there are other people who have had that problem. That reminds me of Brawl, which was not a pleasant online experience. And missing, it's called Ultimate, and it totally is Ultimate when it comes to characters, but there's other things that just are missing. Break the targets, I loved. Board the platforms, I loved. Race to the finish, I loved. Home run derby, I loved. All of those things are gone. And then other weird things, like it seems like Castlevania gets a ton of love, and Mega Man gets a ton of love. And you look in the spirits, and there's like 20 something spirits for those franchises. And then you look at Square, and it's like, here's Cloud, here's the stage, everything from Smash 4, and there's 2 spirits, 2 versions of Cloud. That's it. Nothing else. They had a chance to bring in spirits from all the Final Fantasy games, really pay homage to that series on the NES. Not there. There's a Geno and a Mallow spirit, but there's also omissions, like some of the Mii costumes, like the Geno Mii costume isn't even there. So not only do we not get Geno, we can't even pretend to be Geno anymore. And I thought that was weird. Like, why are some of these Mii costumes gone? All like the third-party ones. The Tekken characters are gone. Monster Hunter's gone. Like, and that's weird too, because Monster Hunter is actually represented in the game. These are like little nitpicks, but they were things that held me back, because I wanted this to be truly ultimate, and I absolutely love the game, and I can't recommend it enough. But you don't need me telling you that at this point. You're gonna, if you like Smash, you're gonna get it anyway. But these are just little things that just, they held it back from being that 10 of 10 game for me. Because if you're going to put Ultimate on it, if you're going to build it up as the Ultimate, then as a fan of this series since the N64 version, seeing such staples like break the targets gone, just, it hurts. I'm just not even talking about Smash Run or Smash Tour coming, which should be easy to just bring over, but at least the staples. I mean, that's where the series started.
Right. Gotcha. Well, okay, interesting. Number 2 pick. Okay, I wonder what number 1 pick is. I mean, Paw Patrol or something, maybe. I don't know.
Could be.
We'll have to see.
It could be.
So, Greg, what is your second place pick?
So, as people know, I'm a huge RPG fan, and it kind of is a pain to have to put this as a number 2 spot. But I actually had to put Octopath Traveler. It was a very awesome game. I still have not even beaten it. I haven't gotten all the characters yet. I've only played it for like less than 10 hours, and I don't know why that is, but I absolutely loved it so much, and I am really shooting myself for not putting a lot more time into it. It was so great to see like a unique, like classic JRPG style back on Switch, and you can go around and interact with all these NPCs in different ways with different special abilities and defeat monsters, and the combat is incredible. So definitely highly recommend this one as well. So Octopath Traveler, number 2.
Very cool. So my second place pick is a game that I enjoy very much. It is Fortnite. I have really been enjoying this game, and it's really cool, the fact that it is multi-platform, cross-platform, because I have cousins and friends that have Switch, Xbox. Like, we've all been able to play with each other, voice chat, which has been fantastic. And it's a testament to the game that I play on Xbox One X as well, and I played on Xbox One X, and 4K, everything, it's great. And then I played on the Switch like the next day on the TV, and yeah, it's less resolution and all that, but like, I wasn't taken away. Like, I didn't feel like my experience was any less playing the game on Switch. I could still enjoy it just the same way that I did on Xbox. And to me, that's a testament towards the quality of the game. And I know that for a while, for a few weeks, there were performance issues on it, but they have since released some updates that have fixed a lot of those issues. And it's pretty fun to play in handheld mode as well. I mean, it works great. The game itself, they are constantly updating it with so much content. There's new things to do all the time, which makes me want to keep playing and playing and playing. And I mean, it's a free game, which is fantastic. I have spent more money in that game than many other things this year, which is kind of crazy, because I've gotten so into it that I've started buying skins and all sorts of stuff. So I'm fully into Fortnite now.
What's your favorite emote?
I have one where there's like he brings out like a DJ thing and starts playing music and jumping up and down, and especially because there's a character, like a llama character, like a DJ llama, and so when he does that emote, it's also really fun. But there's a bunch of good ones.
Nice.
For sure. Yeah. So I definitely would recommend Fortnite. It's free, so you might as well give it a try. All right, Steve, what is your top pick for Nintendo Switch?
My
AAA?
top pick. Before we jump into the top pick, I'll mention my my honorable mentions real quick. That I have several. I'm just going to run through them real quick because several of them popped up on other people's list. Games like Fortnite is an honorable mention for me. Octopath Traveler, fantastic game. Love the art style in that game. I just can't get enough of it. Marvel Superheroes 2, I really enjoyed. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition was great. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and Super Mario Party, all fantastic games this year. But number one had to go to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. That is no surprise for most people listening and watching. And in spite of the downsides that Barry talked about, it's still a great game. Yes, those are significant, and I agree with Barry wholeheartedly that I think like a game called Ultimate should be Ultimate. But however, those didn't disqualify it in my list because this year, this list for me was definitely not only was it created with the great games and everything in mind, but things that really just bring me enjoyment and satisfaction when I sit down to play my Switch. And Xenoblade Chronicles is a fantastic game, but I played Starlink a whole lot more because I enjoyed the Star Fox stuff and the flying and adventure and all that stuff. And I played so much of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in spite of its downfalls that it is quickly becoming like by far the game that I will play the most this year. And it just came out. So even though I only have a few weeks with it in 2018, I will have put more hours into that game than any other game this year. And that definitely qualifies it for number one in my book.
Very cool. All right, Barry, tell us all about Paw Patrol.
All right, Paw Patrol. Here we go. Actually, my number 3 original spot was a real tough one because I was torn between 2 really, really main games and 3 kind of. Pokemon Let's Go, Octopath Traveler, and Starlink. Those 3 games were really up there. And there were some other great games released this year. Super Mario Party I had a lot of fun with. Mega Man 11, I adored that series. But when it came to it, those 3 titles were really pushing it. And then of course I played Ease afterwards. And I'm like, oh, sorry guys, like Ease is just too good. I have to give mention. But as for my number 1, there was one title this year. Last year I played a lot of games. Last year I played a lot of hours into games. We had Zelda, we had Mario, we had Xenoblade, all this time. And I looked at my Switch play log and I'm like, holy crap, I spent a lot of time last year playing games. And this year, nowhere near that. I don't even know if I could sit and play that right now. Like, there's so much going on. And then a game came out and I popped it in. And the rest of it just kind of faded away. And it was like, forget all that. This is your life right now. And that is Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna. That reignited my love for this series. And not that I lost the love, it was just like, heck, I don't know if I could play Xenoblade Chronicles 2 for 350 more hours. But Torna was like, yo, you totally can. And for a quick game, it's you could probably beat it in maybe 10 hours. I spent about 25 hours just exploring every inch of that world, just seeing all the stuff that happened prior to. And it is a much smaller game. It is so much smaller, but there's still so much to it. And they streamlined a lot of the things that the first game or the original 2 did that were kind of like the gacha system, which I still was never a fan of. But the characters are great. The story is great. The ending is great. Like, if you play that game to the end and then you play Xenoblade Chronicles 2, there is a cutscene that takes place immediately after the end of Torna. So you really get the full story, and it's just so good. The reason why Steve puts it as number 3 is because despite my urging, he won't get a little bit farther when the game really picks up, and then he'll get hooked. He refuses He just downright refuses. And don't be like Steve, okay? You need to play this game. Like Octopath is a great RPG.
Starlink and Smash Brothers. Sorry,
Starlink is a great game too. I bought it twice. I mean, I love Starlink.
That's true.
You know, I gave my money. You know, here it is. I got the PS4 version. I have to right there. You know, on top of the Switch version. And for proof, I did an unboxing. I got everything for Starlink. I got everything. It's all on NintendoFuse. I absolutely love Starlink, and it was so close to being my number 30. But Xenoblade is just, it's just so good, and people need to give it more of an attention, because especially Torna's like $40, and it's so worth it, and it should propel you into the second game, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It is a series that needs more love. Sakurai spit in my face during that last direct. Literally,
No.
like right out of the screen. It was just like, you want Rex? Well, pooey. You know, and I've of course made a Mii fighter Rex because I had to, but yeah, I couldn't. Like, Smash Brothers is such a good game, and Xenoblade, and I put more time now into Smash Brothers, but as much fun as I've had playing Smash Brothers for it must have been like 70 hours at this point. I have not had a bigger smile on my face than I did when I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna for those 25 hours. So that's my number 1.
Very cool. All right, Greg, is your number 1 Smash, Xenoblade, or something else?
It is Paw Patrol. No. Because I actually have played that one, but it would be a fantastic honorable mention for people with kids. My other honorable mentions include those awesome Mega Man collections. I did put a lot of time into those as well, rebeating all the classic ones. However, but number 1 definitely is Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Everyone's already gone to great lengths about it. It's an incredible game. I love the single player aspect of it, and that's what I was really looking forward with Ultimate, is if they had like a subspace like world type of thing, and they do have that. It's awesome. It's great, and super hooked on it. Like I said, I'm already halfway through the World of Light, so definitely can't wait to wrap that up and check out see how the online stuff is going with everybody complaining about it. So fantastic game, great music, great selection of characters, love everything about it. So number 1.
Cool. So that leaves me. So my number 1 pick is Super Mario Party. There's a lot of fun, a lot of mini games. No, I'm just kidding. It's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Come on. Everybody's already talked about it at length. Super Mario Party is an honorable mention, though. I did actually enjoy what I did play of it. I just feel like there's just not enough boards in the game. There's only 4, and once you play through the 4, I mean, you can keep playing them and do mini games and stuff, but I just wish there was a little bit more. Starlink being another, honorable mention, definitely pretty cool. But Smash, there's just so much content, and just put in so many hours just kind of going, and even playing with computers. I haven't gone online yet. I've played at least, I think, like 15 hours, maybe more, and haven't touched the online stuff yet. So there's still so much more to explore and do, but definitely it's been fantastic. So that is it for Nintendo Switch AAA titles. So that brings us to our worst of the year games. So this is going to be an interesting category. So these are the games that we all did not enjoy and do not recommend. So in typical NintendoFuse podcast fashion, I don't have choices for this category because I just honestly I didn't get that many games. The ones I got, like, I could pick my least favorites, but that would not be fair to those games because I still enjoyed them. There's no games that I bought and played that I didn't like.
You know what? We all laugh, but really we're laughing because we're envious because you didn't have to suffer like we did.
Clearly, we need to send Hassan some more games.
Yeah,
that's what's going on. He needs to do some more reviews for NintendoFuse. That's what I'm picking out from this.
Absolutely.
Note to myself, Hassan needs to do more reviews for NintendoFuse.
See, this helps with my mental health. I get to enjoy the video games I play. Don't even got to worry about the bad stuff. So all the stuff you're about to hear, you now get to avoid, thanks to the rest of these great people here. So you can thank them for for helping you avoid some games. So we are going to start with Greg here, and I just want to preface this as well, because before this podcast started, when I looked at the list, I said, I think I got a bone to pick with someone here. So, Greg, what is your third place pick?
Well, I first wanted to preface this by saying this is my first time playing a game in this type of genre. This genre, I feel, has really exploded over the last year or two, and I've never really played these type of games before. So, unfortunately, it's probably not going to want me to play another game just like it. So, my number 3 is actually Fortnite. So.
I knew it the second he said I had to preface this. I'm like, yep, it's Fortnite.
So I wasn't quite sure. I mean, I'm always like getting like dropped in, and then I land, and then I get killed, and then I get dropped in. I run around, explore, and then all of a sudden I see my health is decreasing because like the battlefield's shrinking. I get killed. I go back in, and then I find people to shoot. I'm emptying clips. They're not dying. I don't know what's going on with this game. So I'm very puzzled as how this game actually works, because it seems like I couldn't really even kill anything or figure out what I'm supposed to even be doing, because there's like no tutorials or anything like this. So that's definitely why I put on my number 3.
That's the point of the game, Greg. That's why everybody enjoys it. I don't know. I'm just
emptying
joking.
clips into like people and they don't die. I mean, how does that happen?
I'm totally just joking.
I will say the game not having a tutorial definitely is not the best. Like, I wish there was some way to do some training. There's a playground mode now, but you still have to figure it out on your own. I like my brother-in-law, actually, I played online with him, and they were like pros at what they were doing, so I felt like I was clueless, but he kind of helped teach me. So if you don't have somebody kind of coaching you at first, it definitely can be a little confusing, I think, to understand all the mechanics. I will say I put hours into this game. I have never won a solo match. But I also have enjoyed some of the other modes as well, like the 50 versus 50 and other things.
I've got second a few times, but I haven't got to victory royale yet either.
Yeah, but no, I hear you on that one, Greg. Definitely. All right, Steve. What is your third place pick?
Oh man, this third place pick of worst experiences this year. Actually, I think I talked about this maybe last podcast or 2 podcasts ago, and that is the America's Great Games, I think is what it's called, Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. This is pitiful. So I like Jeopardy. It's a good, like, traditional trivia game. I like Wheel of Fortune, great games, right? These don't really function like they should at all. So like that's nothing to do with the idea of Jeopardy or Wheel of Fortune at all. This is totally based on execution here. And they just it's pitiful. I can't even believe that they call Wheel of Fortune an actual game, and try to sell it. It's just a blank, like a screen with like the letters, and that's it. Like they don't even have the people. It's bad. And that's Jeopardy. Jeopardy is just the wall of the categories. And that's it. Wheel of Fortune, at least they tried to make it look like it, but it's really not. And there's apparently motion controls, but they don't really work. You just swing it and try to spin the wheel and nothing happens no matter what. And then it just spins it automatically for you. It's just pitiful. So don't get those games.
All right, duly noted. I want to give a shout out to Roth Sothy in the chat as well, longtime listener. So welcome back, Roth. Always great to have you. Barry, what is your third place pick?
My third place for worst game of this year that I played goes to a game called Iroh Hero. Now, I love shmups. I grew up with them, and I love what East Asia Soft has done. They've published quite a bit of shmups on the Switch. They've published a lot of them physically, which is great. And when I'm like, oh, here's a shmup, it's digital only, but it's from East Asia Soft, I was like, oh, well, East Asia Soft, that's great. Why isn't this getting a physical release? Well, now I know. It is beyond terrible for a shmup. It has levels that are ridiculously long. You have 3 lives, and that's it. The levels are
All right. Greg, what is your second worst game of the year?
All right, so this is definitely not going to contradict anyone else's opinions from here on out. Just want to so. This was like a review game that I'd gotten. This one's Moose Man. So this was a very awful game that I was going through, and you're basically this old guy with a cane, and you just like walk on this platform. You don't even get to jump. You don't have to do anything. You're just walking like left or right, and then you just have to hit the button to like switch between like worlds at the perfect time to like make ramps appear and other things like that. So there's like no challenge. There's basically like no way to die, and you're just getting all these weird like artifacts that give you like history on something couldn't even tell you what it's about. It's something I didn't really care, but there was like dozens and dozens of collectibles, and it's like I don't even know what any of this means, or why am I collecting this? But yeah, it was.
Sounds like the collectibles in Lightfall to me.
So, yeah, it was pretty awful. So definitely a number 2 pick.
It's
All
true.
right.
I forgot about those collectibles in Lightfall.
Steve, what is your second worst game?
Oh, my number 2 is actually a game, another one that I've talked about recently, and that is Bouncy Bob. Bouncy Bob, I wanted to love you because you were only like 7 cents, I believe.
I think it's down to 1 cent right now, and you get 1 gold coin for doing it.
You know what? Yeah, I got it because it was like maybe 4 cents, I think, when I bought Bouncy Bob, and I really wanted to like it just because of that. But oh my gosh, it is awful. The controls are just bad. Like it's a decent idea for a game, but it's just a mobile game ported over, gone wrong in so many ways. And I played it enough to. Yeah, it's 1 cent on the eShop. Jakester says, I don't know if I could even recommend it at 1 cent, to be completely honest with you. Maybe that 1 cent is worth that eShop, the coin or whatever, but that's about it, not the game. Yeah, so if you haven't checked it out, you can for 1 cent.
Well, the coin, actually, I think 1 coin is 1 cent, so it's kind of free in a sense.
There you go. Yeah, it's some sort of competition thing. It really doesn't even make sense. Like, and then sometimes you'd end up on different levels. That's the thing. Like, so I would play it, and then like somehow I'd advance, but I didn't even know how. And like, it's just a mess. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Bouncy Bob, number 2.
All right, before Steve has PTSD over Bouncy Bob, let's move on to Barry with your second worst game of the year.
My second worst game was a game that looked really cool in screenshots. I was like, oh man, and I got it. And it's a game called Rockets, Rockets, Rockets for the Switch. And it is a dogfighting style game where you in a rocket are against somebody else in a rocket. It sounds pretty cool on paper until you realize that you're moving at ridiculous speeds. Think supersonic in Smash Brothers on this 2D platform while you're trying to dogfight. I killed myself more times by firing a missile, which is going at a slower pace, and then running into my own missile because it's friendly fire. I showed my wife. She's like, it can't be this bad. I'm like, watch me play a game, and it's just like this, and then I die, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that was terrible. I mean, if you enjoy hating yourself, Yes, Roth asked if it has rockets. It does. It has lots of rockets. That's all it is. It's rockets and missiles, and it's. And then the announcer is like so excited. It's like rockets, rockets, rockets. I'm like, no, bad, no, stay away, no. Unless you really hate yourself and you like impossible challenges, like having 2 supersonics go into town and seeing who wins, then pick it up. Otherwise, stay away. Not worth it.
All right. So that brings us to our worst game of 2018. What is it for you, Greg?
Well, I can just like to be known that I think might be the only game that might be shared across another list on here, and it's probably with Steve because it's none other than our infamous The Bunker. So, I don't know. This was like more of like a point and click type of game that they tried to adapt into some sort of adventure, but it's very straightforward, and there's not really it's like so boring, and everything, all the transitions are very slow in between everything, and it's like all pretty much a linear path like all the way through it. So the very beginning is kind of like hard to get going where you're originally going, but then as soon as you get through it, then you kind of dive in and see the full story and everything, and it's very boring. It can be completed in like at least like 2 or 3 hours at most. It's nothing long at all, and definitely wouldn't recommend it to anyone to have to suffer through, except for Steve, so we do the game chat. That's it.
So, Steve, I assume you share those same traumatic memories?
Oh, can this just function as our game chat on it? Man, The Bunker is so awful. 2 or 3 hours of the worst, longest hours of my entire life. I haven't made it through it because I can't force myself to sit down and play it. I would rather play like so many other things. I would rather play these other Bouncy Bob and Wheel of Fortune. Man, it's just bad. So they market this thing as an FMV, but it's more like a point and click. And it is so boring and so weird. Like I can't get like especially the very beginning. It's just so strange, and like I don't know. It's it's really hard to explain, and I don't want to tell people just go out and experience it yourself, because that would be horrible, and I don't want to wish that upon anyone. So like it's just. You follow this guy that's trying to figure out, like, he's in a bunker and he's trying to figure out what's going on and everything, but it moves so slow, and you end up having to go back and forth, and like it is a pretty linear path, but in order to get to that linearness, you have to like go like do this thing over here and go over here, and it's sort of like a Metroidvania thing, but not nearly as fun. And you can't get to this certain thing, and certain things don't work until you do something over here, and you never want to go do that. And I was just like, I just want to get through this just so I can like review it with Greg and just put this behind me. And I haven't been able to just sit down and finish it yet. I'm like, I'll probably almost way finished, and I just can't do it. So Bunker is definitely the worst game of this year for me. I did want to also add 2 quick honorable mentions. RBI Baseball 18 is, in my opinion, no better than 17. 17 was bad. And I really didn't like Rogue Aces. Barry and I talked about that one. But Rogue Aces made honorable mention for me this year for sure. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, Barry, what is your worst game?
Well, first, I got to go to dishonorable mention first. And I'm not going to put Rogue Aces there. 1, because I did actually get some enjoyment out of that game. And 2, I don't want the creator attacking us again because we don't like his game. So don't worry, it is not on my list. My dishonorable mention goes to a game called Lifeless Planet, which is really ambitious in what it's trying to tell with the story. But it's just boring. It's literally just boring walking around this 3D planet. And there's, it's not. It would have been there had I not played Rockets. That's what knocked it off. But my number 1 game, or number 1 worst game of this year, has to go to Shape of the World. My God, Like this isn't really as much of a game as it is an experience, which is how they tout it. But it's an experience, all right. A really shitty experience that involves nausea and wandering around aimlessly and throwing balls at animals and turning them into trees and then launching yourself off the trees into nothingness. It was like, it's so, again, ambitious, and it's trying to be like a Fantasia style movie where it's more about the experience and more about the surrealism, and it's just garbage. It's first person wandering around. You have no goal. First you're like, oh, I gotta walk to this like arch triangle thing, and then that disappears, and everything, like the planet starts to get better and better as you go along, and there's better creatures, and like life develops. And that's supposedly what happens. All I know is it went from blue hues to red hues, and more trees popped up that I started swinging from until I hit a rock wall. And I'm like, okay, I hit a dead end. What am I gonna do? And eventually I did actually get myself, like, I fell off a cliff at the end of the world where there's an invisible wall, and I'm like in this little triangle of water, and because I'm from a cliff and I can't do anything, I'm like, yep, game done. But there's another one Blake finished. I guess he's a masochist. I don't know. I couldn't do it. Yeah, like, we did a game chat on it. You can watch it, but this is by far the worst game I played this year, if you can call it a game. And it made me sick. Like, I actually almost threw up from nausea just from running around aimlessly with all the colors. Like, remember those old commercial with the popsicles? It's like the colors, Duke, the colors, where he's licking it and like all these weird wavy colors. That was me. Like, as I'm playing this game, it was terrible. Oh, do not play this game. Do not. I do have a code I think I could give away to some unlucky, fortunate bastard.
Hassan!
But I'm not even doing that.
I was just about to say, I am looking at this, and I'm super thankful that all of the games that I played were enjoyable. I didn't have to suffer through any of this, so sucks for you guys. But hey, this has been a great public service announcement for all of you watching and listening, that these are all the games to avoid. So there you go. Save your money and focus on some other titles instead.
Right. And I still have another honorable mention back from several years ago. I think 2009. I think it was 2009 actually, when it was Stop Stress, A Day of Fury from WiiWare. You can avoid that game too. That's my worst game of all time. The bunkers, pretty close.
Hey, Steve, that means you haven't played Shape of the World. I've got a code for you.
I know. I heard that somewhere.
All right, so we got that out of our systems, the worst game of the year. Right? Let's go back to our happy places. Let's talk about our game of the year, right? These are our top choices based on all the categories that we discussed. We're going to group it all together. And I figured for this, because we've already talked about all these games individually, it's more about our rankings. When we each go around, we'll say all three of our choices at once. That way we can explain why we ranked them, in whichever order, if there's really any explanation needed. So I'll start with this with my top three choices for game of the year. Third being Pokemon Let's Go. Second being Fortnite. And number one being Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Same rankings as what I had for Switch AAA titles, because that's really the only category I had choices in. Well, I had other choices, but they just weren't as worthy, clearly. But yeah, for all the reasons I said, they're all great games. Smash Brothers just has so much content. Fortnite constantly keeps it fresh, and then Pokemon is a new take on a classic franchise. So all great games. So let's hop on over to Barry for your top three for game of the year.
Mine are not all Switch games. I did my number three. I gave it to Radiant Historia, perfect chronology, only because as great as Ys 8 is, Radiant Historia is just that much better. And Ys 8 does have a little bit of technical hiccups on the Switch version, where Radiant Historia does not on the 3DS. So that just takes my number three. Number two, going to be the only one with it there, but Smash Brothers Ultimate. And number one has to be Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna, the Golden Country, my game of the year personally.
All right. Let's pass it on to Steve.
Right. So quick honorable mentions to my top two indie games, Switch indie games, Celeste and Earthlock. Great games, but not quite to the caliber of my top three AAA, which is the same as my top three overall. So number 3 was Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna. At number 3, number 2, Starlink Battle for Atlas, and number 1, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, for all the reasons I have stated already.
All right, so that leaves Greg with your top 3.
Well, my list kind of went to a similar format as Barry. I did put Radiant Historia as number 3. It definitely is a just well-deserving game to at least make that high up there. But then number 2, I went with Octopath Traveler, and number 1, Super Smash Brothers.
All right. So to anybody in the chat, if you want to post your top game of the year games as well, we'll mention them on the podcast. But with that being said, so we basically tally up our top games and assign points to them, and then crown our overall NintendoFuse game of the year. So the way that we do it is all of our number 1 picks get 3 points, our number 2 picks get 2 points, and our third place pick gets 1 point. So for this one, we actually had a tie for third place, so I had to do a tiebreaker. So there are 2 games that got 2 points, and the tiebreaker was which game appeared more in our game of the year choices. So the third place overall NintendoFuse game of the year for 2018 is Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. It beat out Octopath Traveler because that was only mentioned once. That was the second place, so that had 2 points. Whereas this was mentioned twice, both in third place.
Starlink was also 2 points as a second place.
Oh, it was. Yes, sorry. Yes, you're right. Yep, there's a 3-way tie. Correct. But it was only mentioned once. Correct. Yep. So then, and actually, I should say Fortnite was another one that had 2 points.
Yeah.
So that was our third place pick. So then our second place pick overall with 4 points is Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torna the Golden Counter. So that leaves our ultimate NintendoFuse 2018 game of the year, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate with 11 points. Almost that perfect number 1 for all of us.
Sorry. Combo breaker.
Throw a wrench in that. But hey, I guess in a way that's a perfect analogy for the game. It's so fantastic, but it's not quite truly ultimate. So in a way that actually worked out. Yeah, fantastic game. And, obviously our NintendoFuse game of the year for 2018. So that is it.
Cool. Well, thanks, Hassan, for reprising your role as the Game of the Year host. It's been great. Not necessarily a huge surprise for me to see that Smash Brothers got top pick, but yeah, like you said, I think it's a perfect illustration for the game. It's just short of being the ultimate game, the perfect version of Smash Brothers. And here's hoping for more updates along the way, that maybe they hear us and maybe they'll update it, include those things later. We'll see. I'm not holding my breath, but maybe it happened. Maybe they'll actually listen to us and create the actual Ultimate Edition over the next few months. So we'll see.
Deluxe with new funky mode.
Right.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimate Deluxe.
New. All right. So quick before we wrap up, tell like contest winners and all that stuff. What are you guys excited about playing over the next couple weeks? Something new coming out that you're really excited about, Greg? Anything new?
Well, for Christmas, I'd asked for Undertale, so I know that game came out way back in September, so definitely looking forward to definitely checking that out. Definitely need to put more time into Mega Man and Smash Brothers as the year closes out. But yeah, no, I don't think there's anything else that's gonna be brand new that I'll be playing though.
Cool. Hassan, anything you're excited about playing over the next couple weeks?
I mean, mostly Smash, but I think I'm going to try and get in some Fortnite because the new season started. So whenever the new season starts, there's always new weapons, new different things to try out, new game modes. So looking forward to kind of diving into that.
Cool. Barry, how about you?
I'm planning to finish up what I can do in Smash within the next few days and continue with Dragalia Lost and Final Fantasy 14, of course. But as for new games, it just came out right before Smash did, so I haven't played it yet, and I look forward to ending my year with it. And that is Darksiders 3. Big fan of the Darksiders series. I know the third one didn't get the best reviews, but I have to play it. Unfortunately, it's not on Switch, but that is what I look forward to going into the holiday.
Cool. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Smash Brothers, of course. I'm looking to try out the new stuff in Fortnite. No, just got updated and everything, so that'd be fun. Holiday season, everything. That's always great time to break out the party games. So I've been playing a lot of Super Mario Party and Jackbox games and stuff like that. As far as new stuff, I do know Gris. Roth was mentioning Gris in the chat. It's very interesting as well. So I'm interested to check that out. I don't know if I'll get it for sure, but I'm definitely gonna be looking into it for sure. Before we jump into the contest winners, I want to remind you guys to subscribe, but also we love your feedback. We didn't have much time for any listener feedback and questions or anything at this podcast because it was so jam-packed with our Game of the Year discussion and everything. But if you have a question for us to address at a future podcast, make sure you email us at podcast@nintendofuse.com. And any question that you have, we'll address those in a future podcast. And you can also follow us on social media at NintendoFuse, both on Twitter and Facebook. Barry, it is time to announce our Video Games Monthly 3-Up winner. And so I'll toss it over to you, and you can kind of take it from here.
All right. Yeah. So what we did is we hit the button to generate a winner using the program we use, and it has randomly selected Mike Solidown. You are the winner of the Video Games Monthly 3-pack from NintendoFuse and Video Games Monthly. Thank you so much for entering, and thank you for everybody that entered. Maybe I'll randomly send somebody a Shape of the World consolation code as a sorry you didn't win, but have fun hurting yourself. I don't know. But no, thank you so much for entering, and thank you big time to Video Games Monthly for allowing us to hold this contest. I will be sending an email out to you, Mike. You have to reply, let me know your address and all that stuff, and I will send that over to the great folks over at Video Games Monthly, and they will send you your box. Thank you for all that entered, and make sure to go over to Video Games Monthly's their social media. Let them know, hey, I'm here. I heard about you guys from NintendoFuse. Show them some love so that we can keep doing contests like these, and hopefully, you guys can win more video games. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, give them some love, and go sign up for a 3-up box, a 5-up box, or something, and definitely let them know you heard about Video Games Monthly on the NintendoFuse podcast. That'd be awesome because that lets them know that it's worth doing contests like this, and maybe we'll see a little more contests on the future drawings for some more 3-up boxes and 5-up boxes and stuff like that. So thanks again to Video Games Monthly for making this happen for our winner this time, and yeah, make sure you go check them out for sure. Guys, it's been awesome to talk video games again. It's been an awesome year. 2018 has been filled with lots of games. 2019 is going to be jam-packed with some other great games. We got some big stuff coming up in 2019. Hopefully we actually do see Metroid Prime 4 in 2019. Just crossing our fingers to see if it doesn't get delayed again, but pushed back to 2024. Yeah, lots of great stuff coming out next year. I'll be excited to talk to you guys about it. Reminder that we normally do this podcast every other week, but with the holiday season and everything, we are going to say quit. We're calling it quits for 2018, and we'll see you in 2019. So the next episode of the NintendoFuse podcast will be on January 7th, 2019. So we'll talk to you guys next year. That's crazy to think, but 2019 is right around the corner. Lots of great games to come. It's been awesome to chat with you guys, and for all of you guys listening in, make sure you subscribe, make sure you share it with friends, hit the bell if you're on YouTube, all that good stuff. And guys, it's been great. And
yeah, happy holidays, everyone. Happy New
holidays.
Yep.
Yeah,
Happy New Year.
Yep.
Year. We'll see you in 2019.
See you next year.